Hey guys, I really hate to see people waste time and I love to see people fulfill their dreams, and I just love to hear more musicians in the world. So I thought I would make a quick video on how to find the right teacher, or at least some things to consider when you're looking for a guitar teacher or a music teacher in general. I've seen so many people, they're like, I've been taking lessons for this amount of time, and it's just very clear that they have the wrong teacher. And by the wrong teacher, what I mean is this person has this like one size fits all approach to the student. This is the right way, and you must go through this thing that either their teacher taught them or some like university or program. They just basically want to put people through the same program that they've been through. And that's not necessarily right for every single student. You are different, your goals are different. We're going to get into that. But then you have another type of teacher who is kind of like just burning up time, just wants like to make some side cash or whatever. So they just will teach the student whatever they want to learn with no framework, no like real long-term plan to set the student up for like real success. And so we'll get into that too. But in general, we're going to just go through some steps that you might want to look at, or some different ideas that you want to look at when choosing a teacher. First thing, it's on you, okay? So get very clear what you want to be able to do and what amount of time you want to give yourself for that. I mean, you got to be realistic, but just going, hey, I'm going to take lessons and maybe I'll be good, is not going to work. Most people don't want to make this specific plan and make a specific goal, because if they don't reach it, then there's an element of failure there. So people will resist, especially when it comes to music, because it's so emotional and so inspired. They're like, wait, I don't want to, this isn't my job. I don't want to like put this framework on it where like I'm either hitting it or missing it, because most people can't look failure right in the face. But the people that can actually get in reality about what progress they've made and then make a plan to get to the next step. So it's a little tricky, because a lot of people want to play music just to feel something, and feel these like this inspired moment when they're playing, and just like when they're listening. This is good. This is a really good thing. But somebody who obviously or otherwise is very assertive and goal oriented in their life, they won't do that around music because they feel like it maybe will take the magic out of it or something like that. I get that too. All of that is in this realm of talk and self-talk and expectation. When if you're going to take lessons, you're going to spend money on it, or you're going to dedicate your time to playing this instrument, it's cool, it's okay. It's actually really good to make a plan and see if you can get to your goal. And you're going to progress faster. And trust me, the magic will still be there when you get to the goal, or almost to the goal. That's the way to really progress. Otherwise, it just becomes this moving goalpost where you're paying this person every week, and it just never feels like enough. And it's probably one more thing in your life that you're going to use as evidence of why you're not good enough. Let's be real. But you are. You just got to get in reality about where you're going and what you want to be able to do. Okay, so you know what it is you want to do. I want to learn enough to write my own song. I would like to be a lead guitar player for my band. These are very specific goals. I would like to be able to play a good blues guitar solo. Or your goal could be something like, I want to be able to play just like Stevie Ray Vaughan. I want to be able to shred like Eddie Van Halen. You can make these really, long-term goals, or these very exciting and almost seemingly unattainable goals. And there's a way to get to them. But you got to know what you want to do first. You got to know where you're going and how long you want to give yourself to do that. 6 months is usually a pretty good time frame to learn the basics if you're practicing a lot. 6 months is not going to be enough if you're practicing 10 minutes a day. You just got to be real with you. The right teacher will be real with you. So we'll get there. But the number two thing is you want the teacher to to be someone who listens to you. So after you have your goal and you're doing, you have your framework of like what you want to do and if you're going to make that goal, then you got to find a teacher who will listen to you and will make a plan to make that goal happen. So what I mean by that is very few teachers will actually listen to who you are and where you want to go with this. Most of them either will just burn up the time. I'll show you one thing and then burn up the time. Or they're like, I went to this regimented course and you're going to do it the way that I did it. I mean, I've seen 40-year-old woman taking piano lessons and the teacher's got her learning one note at a time reading music. Reading music is a superpower. It's awesome. But somebody's 40 years old, get them playing songs, get them inspired, get them feeling the music. Don't just put this like abstract piece of paper in front of them and get them, plucking out one note at a time, further validating how hard it is and how they can't do it. Everybody has music inside of them. Music is innate. That's why you see a little kid just start dancing and singing when there's no thoughts about what they should or shouldn't be or what they can and can't do. Most people have had that beaten out of them by the school system. And most people, when they're growing up, have had that beaten out of them by their music teacher. You take a kid and they're so musical and they're just having a great time. And then you sit them in front of this piano, sit up straight, play this right. It just is this whole regimented world of what they're not and how they're wrong. You got to access the inspiration and the music inside of you and at the same time build those skills. So I'll get into teaching kids in a minute. Most of us will just ask a family friend who teaches guitar, or we'll go to the local music shop and just sit down with whoever is the teacher there. Maybe we'll Google it and we'll meet the person. We're like, okay, this seems pretty good. But if you're having somebody who specializes in classical music and you really are honest that your dream is that you want to play like Eddie Van Halen, you can learn something from that teacher. I'm not saying you can't learn something from that teacher, but why not get the person who does exactly what you want to do and have them guide you on this path? I get that that's taking it pretty seriously. Most people, they're kind of too shy or nervous to really take it on that seriously, and that's okay too. If you just want to hang out with somebody and you're going to play a few songs and just have some fun with your instrument, that's a different kind of teacher. You got to just make sure you got the right kind of teacher. That's all I'm saying. And when you do, you're going to just enjoy the process much, much more. That's one thing that a teacher is really going to help you do, is make this graded series of steps to get to where you want. Most people, when they sit down with YouTube or something like that, some people can even learn this very advanced piece of music, but their technique won't be that quite right because they didn't hit those intermediate skills on the way. They can play the solo to Sweet Child of Mine, but it just doesn't sound right, and they have no context for what they're playing. That's where a teacher is going to help you find your way and do a graded approach to get to where you want. Because at the end of the day, if you do that and you take it step by step, your playing is going to be effortless and you're going to be able to enjoy it like you're an audience to your own playing. I used to watch this movie called North Shore when I was a kid, and this hotshot surfer comes from Arizona or something, and he learned to surf in a wave pool, and he wants to shred, and the older cat makes him learn to surf on this huge Hawaiian longboard with no fin, and he has to use his foot as a fin, and then once he's mastered that, he upgrades him to this other big longboard, but it's more of like a 60s style longboard, slowly getting up to this short board so he can shred on all these waves. If you know about surfing, or if that analogy makes sense, it's kind of the same thing. I know some people look like they're super geniuses and they were just given a guitar and all of a sudden they can just play anything they want. That's not real. I think we want that to be real because we want to believe that some people just have these supernatural powers. But the truth is, anybody that's really good has spent a lot of time and dedication refining this craft. And the truth about really getting good is you got to work on something that you love. You're going to have to practice so much, and you're going to have to repeat certain phrases and certain things so many times. To do that, you got to play something that you really freaking love. So if I if I told you you got to learn to play classical guitar to get your technique totally together, it's going to be an arduous and very painful process if you want to shred like Eddie Van Halen on an electric guitar. You want to find the person that does the thing or can help you get as close as you can to the thing that you want. If you live in a small town and you want to learn to play blues guitar and nobody in town plays that, you can still find a teacher that knows enough to kind of direct your path. But anyway, bottom line, make sure the lessons are about you. Make sure it's about what you want to do and not about the teacher just playing the whole time. It's not about the teacher just kind of checking out. It's meaning that checking out, like just making you do something that they did, or just listening to you play without any kind of like guidance. It's really a sweet spot between telling somebody too many things and letting them work it out. You got to let the student work it out, and then right at the right moment, add the piece that's going to elevate it. And so that takes somebody that's very present, and even a great teacher will have an off day where they're not that present. But in general, you'll know if this teacher allows you to work on it and then gives you this little piece of information that elevates it. So you really want the teacher that listens to you and views your long-term progress from kind of far away. It's somebody who's been on the path before you, and they know how to get you to where you want to go. Because you're not going to be able to see all the different pitfalls and everything. But if you find the right teacher, they really listen to you, and it's truly about you. After a short period of time, you'll notice that you're really kicking ass and making progress. If you're not making progress, you either need the right teacher or you are just lying to yourself about how much you're practicing and how much you really want it. Because all of us have music inside of us, and if we put in the time and we really work on it, we will get very good. You will get very good. Just a couple of side notes. If you're a very accomplished intermediate player, you've been playing a long time, you've been playing in bands, but you feel like you want to take lessons to get better, to get to the next level, you may need a mentor, not a teacher. You may need somebody who can kind of just be your friend that also has that ability to kind of push you into the next phase. Instead of somebody hand feeding you a curriculum and making sure that you are on this path, you may need somebody that kind of has what you want, and you become friends with them, and then you just hang with them and ask advice and kind of mine them for information on your path. And then if you're looking for a teacher for your children, my